Breaking news out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, as LSU is going to be missing a key defender in the Clemson game to open up the season. My name is Bryce Kuhn. This is Matthew Brune right beside me. AJ Haulcy is out for the first half of the LSU Clemson game. And Bruni, let's just kind of kick it off right here really quickly, kind of instant reaction to this. You know me, I've been very high on Halsey through fall camp. This is a massive blow for the first half. LSU does have some depth there. We expect, I'll be careful how I say this, to be Deshaun Spears, to be the guy that steps in opposite of Tamarcus Cooley. But first off, Pete Nakos reporting this as well and working to continue to confirm things. This is something LSU didn't even really know was an issue. And so in terms of the background information, what can you tell us how this came about and kind of the story behind why AJ Halsey is going to have to sit out the first half?
Yeah, this is news. I mean, this is such a rapidly developing story. Like literally on Wednesday, I talked to Shay Wednesday, and he was like, maybe something potentially could come up with. They were suspended, but then on Thursday it hits the ground running, and Shay on the Bengal Tiger on 3. For those who haven't already, subscribe over there. It was
Yeah.
all over it all day long, giving the latest intel. I think at noon he had an update, then 1 he had an update, ahead of it, everything at like 4, being like, oh, it's looking like it might actually happen potentially. But AJ Halsey and Tamarcus Cooley were both ejected in the last game of their seasons. And I don't know the exact semantics of the difference between the two. I think one was unnecessary roughness and one was a fighting ejection.
Mhm.
Maybe you can clarify, but Tamarcus Cooley is going to be fine to play the first half against Clemson. AJ Halsey will not be. AJ Halsey, the fighting ejection was against BYU in Provo last game of the season for Houston. So that's kind of the background information everybody needs to know. But I think there was just an overall feeling is like for 8 months, nothing came out about this.
Nothing. Not a
And
peep.
now here we
Nothing.
are. I mean, on Wednesday, 72 hours before kickoff. Now, as we record this, 48 hours before kickoff, AJ Halsey's out.
Real quick, Pete Thamel's statement kind of clears up some of the language of what you were talking about. He goes, the initial report from the NCAA that Thamel received was in the last game of the 2024 season, AJ Halsey was ejected from the contest, the one you were talking about with BYU, initially listed as unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, but then clarified post game that the game officials then, I'm guessing, and this is my interpretation, went back and reviewed the film. They ejected the player for fighting. So they upgraded it. The fighting then, obviously, as we know, carries an automatic carryover penalty. Uh, so that's what happened. Let's talk about the fallout of this real quick. And I want to react to this. And I joked about this before we hit record. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. I understand the NCAA has rules to uphold. I can't believe I've even just said that sentence out loud. But the big thing is, I like to say this on different shows and platforms all the time. The NCAA loves to pick and choose things where they really want to flex their muscles. This feels like this is exactly what this is, to prove a point when they really don't have a lot of power across the whole scope of college athletics. This is crazy to me. The fact that you got all the way to 72 hours before game time and no one had an inkling that this could even happen. Like you mentioned, Wednesday it starts to kind of pop up. Brian Kelly spoke as we record this less than 2 hours ago and talked about he pretty much hoped that leveler heads prevailed, that common sense would come to the fruition of everything. This is what ends up happening. So before we talk about the impact of Halsey not being able to play, what's what's your feeling? What's the gut feeling as LSU fans learn this big news?
I mean, I'm pumped now. This is
He's going to be
LSU
ready to
fans.
go. By the way,
This has put a jetpack, I think, in the back of LSU fans.
yeah,
And whether they're going to the game or not, I mean, this has just been the ultimate. Like, there was already a chip on the shoulder of LSU fans going to this, and I'm sure the team, obviously. But
yeah,
like, this just kind of feels like, and especially with the rumors that Clemson, I'm calling them rumors. I don't know if they're
yes,
actually fact based by any means, but that Clemson, egged on the NCAA, be like, hey, did y'all see this?
yeah,
If LSU and LSU fans are going to run with that 100% as they should, and this has just like I have chills right now because now this is like actually this is LSU football where when you're on the beat and when you're just a fan of anything like that, there's never a dull moment,
yeah.
and we just 48 hours before kickoff, here we are. where a starting safety, a player that we both are very, very high on, and I mean, it's not gonna. We can talk about it later. It's not gonna make like the biggest difference. Like it's not like it's moving the spread by any means,
Yeah.
but it is a difference. It is something that we were high on Haulcy going in, and now to not have him for a half, I think it is something worth talking about.
Perfect segue, real quick. If you're going to bet on this game, use our friends over at BetMGM to get the latest lines, everything. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you earn rewards points that can be redeemed for things like bonus bets or converted to MGM rewards points that can be used towards dining, shows, hotel rooms at over 20 MGM resorts. So make sure you utilize that this weekend, week 1 of college football. Okay, so you talked about that. I agree with you. I'm going to tell you one thing. When they go in that locker room at halftime, number 13 is going to be ready to strap it up. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I know this wasn't with your publication. I had the chance to talk with Haulcy this summer. He's ready to play some football, and so this is going to add, like you said, fuel to the fire inside that locker room. In terms of, and we kind of, I guess, wrap up this instant reaction little episode right here with this. What happens next? Like you mentioned, it's not something that affects, I think, the overall outcome of the game. LSU felt good about their depth, and I talked about this on Sunday. You had an opportunity because you had Haulcy and Cooley. You didn't have to force guys into action. Now, Jordan Gilbert, Deshaun Spears, one of those two guys we feel like are going to be forced into action due to this. I imagine it's going to be Deshaun Spears, who, I mean, Brune, even going back to the recruiting profile, you and I both covered him, obviously, when he was signed with LSU. This is a guy who has the physical profile, was probably drinking out of the fire hose a little bit at times last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's got it's a next man up mentality. I think he has the talent to be able to help you back there, to be able to get you through 2 quarters and then go back to Haulcy.
Yeah. If they had never gotten Haulcy, and we have to remember Haulcy was a late addition to
Very
this
late addition.
class, I think we'd be talking about Spears starting next to Cooley this year.
Yeah.
Again, it would be a very, very quick transition for him as a second-year player here getting thrown into the fire. But now here we are, where again, it's just 48 hours before kickoff for this to be thrown at him. I'm sure he anticipated getting snaps in this game. Like, I'm sure he was like, 15, 20 snaps, somewhere like that, worked in certain dime packages. Maybe we saw him in, but now you're playing the entire first half, basically. I do anticipate it being Deshaun Spears. Javian Toviano, Jordan Gilbert have also been thrown out. I will say AJ Haulcy and Deshaun Spears are very different players.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody in this safety room that tackles like AJ Haulcy.
Yeah.
So I don't think there would be a good like 1-for-1 replacement there. And so I would just go with Deshaun Spears just because I think the talent level is there, and the range there would help quite a bit against the passing attack of Clemson. So but Toviano can tackle. Jordan Gilbert, I don't expect to see. He had kind of moved to star, but he maybe bounces back. But that's kind of where I'm at in my head.
Yeah, I mean, this is a blow. I mean, you wanted to go in there with your full arsenal. You're not going to be able to do that for the first 30 minutes of the game. After that, we can talk about this. I guess the goal is, and I don't want to seem pessimistic now. It doesn't change necessarily my massive viewpoint. I don't think this is going to result in Clemson just putting up 30 in the first half now. Like defensively, it does put a little bit of pressure on you, though, to hold the fort down, right? Until your guy gets back there. Wanted to ask you this before we get out of here. What do you think? How can Deshaun Spears benefit from this opportunity?
I mean, this is everything he's been working for at this point. He was a very highly rated recruit coming out of high school, and I think the coverage ability we already know is there. I think the big thing for him, there were times where the game was too fast for him.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is big. Like I said, from a coverage perspective, I actually kind of like it because I think they're going to have to cover in space, and they're going to have to really have these safeties ready to, whether it's in zone or whether it's in man. I don't think Spears will be in man as much as Cooley, but they're going to need to, make plays in coverage against this passing attack. And I think Spears, that should be his calling card. He racked up the interceptions in high school. We know he has really good ball skills, really good size. So that's what I'm interested to see from him if he is the starter.
AJ Haulcy out for the first half against Clemson. Little instant reaction episode here as the breaking news
ready,
never
Bryce.
stops. Let's do it, baby. You're getting in the car
Bryce.
tomorrow, and I'm flying over there, and we're going to rock and roll in beautiful Brazelton, Georgia, for an evening watching Friday Night Football right next to the Vineyard up there in Brazelton there, Bruni. I don't know if you know anything about that, but we'll be doing that. Hey, you can catch our preview and predictions episode tomorrow morning. We'll be releasing that. As for right now, tough news day. But we want you to come hang out over at the Bengal Tiger on 3. It's a great opportunity for you to join myself, Shay Dixon, and Matthew Brune here talking all things college football, and the board is rocking as we get ready to go into week number 1. We'll catch you next time here on the Bengal Tiger podcast.